Hi, I'm Steve Davis. I'm the Florida Yards and Neighborhoods Coordinator for Citrus County. I work in the Water Resources Department, but I work every day with BJ Jarvis in the Extension Service in the University of Florida. Today I want to talk about the number one plant that takes up most of our time and anxiety in the landscape, and that's the turf grass that we have. I encourage people to use turf grass when it's in its right place. Plant the right plant in the right place and use it where you have high traffic areas. But I encourage people to reduce the amount of it that they use, because it's the number one user of water, it's the number one user of fertilizer, it costs the most to maintain. So I'm trying to encourage people to use Florida-friendly gardens where turf grass won't grow. So I'm going to talk about the three types of grass that I have here today, and I would encourage everybody to investigate this book. This is from the University of Florida, and it's the Florida Lawn Handbook, and it's got more detailed information than I'm going to give you today. But let's talk about the different types of grasses. This one in the middle is St. Augustine grass. A lot of people will have a type of St. Augustine in their lawn, and they'll bring it to me and ask me what it is. I'll tell them it's St. Augustine grass, and often they say no, it's Floratam. But all of these grasses have varieties of grasses, different types that grow. Floratam being one type of St. Augustine grass. This one is palmetto. It's a dwarf cultivar. It is probably the most, or certainly the most shade-tolerant turf grass we have because of its wide, broad leaves. It has the ability to collect more sunlight in shady conditions. So if you have an area where you want turf that has filtered light, St. Augustine grass would be your choice. But any area with real dense turf grass, regardless of how much fertilizer and water you give it, if the sunlight isn't there, then it's going to be kind of a marginal grass for you in those areas. So St. Augustine is a high water user. It's a high maintenance turf grass, and it has an enemy that all the other grasses don't have, and that's the chinch bug. Droughty times in Florida, hot weather, stress on the lawn, chinch bugs arrive and they devour it pretty quickly. Other grasses don't have that problem. One of my favorites, and I always look at grasses when I see new varieties of grass come out, I give them a few years to see if they're going to show any additional problems, and often they do. I usually use the type of turf grass that has been around the longest. This is a Zoysia grass. This is a grass that is native to Korea and the Asian area, but it's very drought tolerant. It's a successful grass to use in high sunlight areas. Nematodes are probably its big problem, but all grasses have nematode problems. Zoysia grass is a pretty good grass. It produces a thick layer of thatch to eliminate potential weed infestations. It's a slow grower, which I like. We have to mow it a little less often. It requires a lot of maintenance, similar to the St. Augustine grass, but it's very drought tolerant. If we have droughty conditions, this grass will go into a false dormancy. When rains return, it perks right up and greens up pretty aggressively. Probably the negative thing I would have to say about it, which would be very few about Zoysia, would be that it goes dormant early and it greens up late. So this one is going to be dormant for a longer period of time than the other grasses. Typically it'll be brown, but as soon as temperatures warm up, we get a little bit of rainfall, it greens up pretty quickly. This is another one. I don't encourage folks to use this too often. I just talked to a gentleman in the extension building that had brought some in and wasn't quite sure what it is. It's not a real elegant looking grass, but it's called the poor man's grass. It is Centipede. Centipede is a grass that I have in my lawn, but it's in areas where it volunteered. It's in an area like the Learning Landscape Garden here. Semi-shady conditions, organic, really organic acidic soils because of the leaf litter that has fallen for years. This one requires a pretty low pH. I encourage folks that are going to grow these types of grasses to get a soil pH test. Master gardeners do that here during the week. If you know the pH of your soil, the pH will tell you how available the nutrients are. If the pH is skewed one way or the other, you could apply all the fertilizer in the world on it, but because of the pH, the nutrition isn't available to the plant. So I encourage folks to spend $3, get a soil test from the master gardeners here. They're 5 days a week at the Extension Building, and then you can more accurately target your fertilization practices. The other grass that I don't have here is Bahia grass. Bahia grass comes in a couple different types. The common one you see along the roadside, the one you see in the marketplace typically is going to be Argentine Bahia grass. That's the grass that I encourage people to use often because it's very drought tolerant. It has no tolerance of shade, so it's going to be the grass that you use in full sun conditions, but it's very drought tolerant. Really, to have a Bahia grass lawn, you don't need to have any supplemental irrigation. You need enough rainfall to get it established, and that grass is very drought tolerant. It, like Zoysia grass, I don't have a sample of Bahia here, but it, like Zoysia grass, will go into a false dormancy. When rainfall stops for a while, it will turn brown, but again, it reacts to rainfall and warm temperatures, and it greens up, immediately after that. It is a clumping grass. It's not a running grass like these grasses, so it does provide opportunity in between the clumps of Bahia grass for potential weed infestations. So typically with Bahia grass, every 3 to 5, 7 years, it's going to be a grass that needs some remedial care. Please come visit us at the Extension Building here in Citrus County or at the Learning Landscape Garden. Master gardeners are here all week to answer your questions. You can contact me at my phone number, 527-5708, and we'll be happy to answer your questions.